Hey, I'm back. I'm in a different location because I had a phone call and a video chat and lunch, and my kids needed stuff. So here I am. We are going to start off with gardening, talking about soil, water, and sun. Those are the three main things that you need when you are gardening. So number one, the soil. Don't overlook that. That is the number one thing that you need to focus on. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to have to enrich their soil. Even if you have really nice dark soil, you probably have to add something. So that's number one. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Number two, watering. Watering used to be a really big concern for me. I didn't know how much was going to be too much, or if I was going to do it wrong. So here's the thing, is if you know your soil and you enrich it yourself and you're going to make it yourself, you're going to know what is in your soil. If you just dig a hole in your yard and start planting stuff, you're not going to know what is in there. So like clay is going to hold on to water more than sand, and clay is going to hold on to it, and not in a good way. It's going to get your roots, they'll rot. If you have too much sand, the water will flow through there too fast. So you're going to need to know your soil. Number two, water at the base of your plant. So here is my tomato plants that I'm going to start. So what I mean is water here. You can water actually out to where the leaves are. That's where you're going to water. Do not water from the top if you can avoid it. Water in the morning. If you water in midday, it's going to evaporate, and you're not going to, you're just going to waste your water. You can get a rain gauge, and so you can see how much water is actually falling onto your soil in the summertime, and then you can add to it if you need to, with the exception of growing in buckets. If you are, if you're going to grow in a bucket and the leaves are going to overflow the bucket, like right, they're going to be too much, go too wide, the water won't be able to get into your roots, so you're going to have to water those by hand. Rain will not be sufficient for that. Water for longer periods of time, but then fewer times a week, as opposed to short little drinks. That will help have the water go down into the roots and have nice healthy roots. All right, then the third one is sun. Most plants are going to need at least 6 hours of sun. There are some that are cool weather plants or leafy greens that will require less, and I can post something on the website, but most plants are going to need at least 6 hours of sun. So look up. I know this seems maybe obvious for some, but if I look at what is getting 6 hours of sun now, at the beginning of April, it's going to be different than the sun is going to get in July, because where the sun moves, it's going to be more overhead, and so and not at an angle. So lots of trees are going to be blocking my garden, whereas in this April or March, it's not going to block the sun. So just make sure that you're getting an adequate amount of sunlight for your plant. Okay, so now we got to the plants. Grow what grows well in your climate. I'm in North Carolina, so we have a very long, warm season. So I'm going to grow lots of tomatoes and zucchini, okra, squashes, eggplant, that kind of stuff, because we have a very long, warm season. We do not have a very long spring and fall season. So peas will not grow well for me. Carrots will not grow well for me in the spring. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that in the fall, where we have a little bit longer of a cool weather. But I'm from Montana, so they have a long time to grow carrots and peas and that kind of stuff, because they have a longer cool weather time. Just so my whole point in that is to know your crops and to know when to grow them. And like I said, that there are cold-loving plants and warm-loving plants. I can post a little link on that, but you're just going to have to really do some research. So like cold-loving plants are lettuce, peas, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower. Most of your greens are going to grow well in the spring and in the fall. Warm-loving plants are tomatoes, peppers, okra, cucumbers, melons, squashes, those are going to grow really well in the warm summer. Grow what you eat. I grew eggplants really, really well. No squirrels or deer ate them, but neither did my kids. They didn't like eggplant. So, we're not going to grow turnips because we don't eat turnips. Just grow what you're going to eat. You're going to have more success with them, and then you're going to enjoy it, and your kids aren't going to hate that you're gardening because you're shoving a turnip down their throat because they don't want to eat it. And you're like, I grew it. So don't do that. What you do grow and what you do love, grow more of. You're going to be more excited about it, but also you're going to be able to pass those along. And then seed versus plants. So there are some things that just grow better with seeds. And you can just direct sow outside. Those are going to be your cucumbers, your zucchinis in the summer, corn in the spring and fall of those cold weather plants. Most of your stuff is going to grow really well direct seed. Radishes, carrots, peas, those are all going to grow really well with seeds, and you don't need to grow those inside. The things that you're going to have to grow inside or buy a plant with is like tomatoes and peppers, eggplant, those kind of things. You're going to need to start those outside from seed. So either you go to the nursery and you buy them, or you can get really ambitious and try to plant them inside first and then transplant them outside. I didn't have as much success with that, and I just didn't have enough time inside to do that. So do what works well for you. But for me right now, it's really easy to go to the farmer's market and get a 4-pack of these. They are 50 cents a piece at the farmer's market. So this was, well, actually this was $1.50, but these 6-packs, they were $3. You're going to pay more at other places than the farmer's market. I recommend mine to anybody who's in Raleigh. All right, the last thing I wanted to add is mulch. Mulch is something that I overlooked for a long time. I didn't really think it was that important, but it is quite important. Number one, it keeps moisture in so you don't have to water as much. Number two, it keeps the weeds out. It suppresses them because they don't get sun and they can't sprout. And number three, it helps keep your soil at a nice temperature. Don't put it on too early, especially for tomatoes and peppers and warm-loving plants, because it will cool down your soil a little bit. But the other thing is it will help give a little home for helpful bugs, and you do want helpful bugs in your garden.